Peace, love, and blessings. This is the Sacred Empress Ali Tosh, the Melanated Mayan Mystic, and today we're going to talk about the White Magnetic Mirror. The White Magnetic Mirror Wavespell is the second wavespell of the transformation cycle. The transformation cycle is 52 days where we work on a deep dive into changing and transforming ourselves. It is based on if you follow the cycle, starting in the enchantment cycle, what you tell yourself, the initiation cycle where you start things that are dear to you, the refinement cycle where you make adjustments, and transformation cycle when you start to add all the things that you are going to use to make your life change and complete. We do this during the transformation cycle. So let's go ahead and talk about the white magnetic mirror. So the white magnetic mirror is basically reflection. It's about order and endlessness. What do I mean when I say that? When we look in the mirror, we see our reflection. And the same thing goes with life. When we look around us, when we look at our life and what we feel as if we become where we are now, there is a certain emotional component that we add to that. And when I tell you that perspective is very important, looking in the mirror at yourself is very important. It really is, because that's going to determine where your mind goes. Now, we really know that our reflection is a reflection of what is coming within, and that's what makes the white magnetic mirror a little bit difficult. A lot of times we look into our mirror and where we are, and we are not happy with the results, not really understanding that this is a spark for change and that this is something that we actually can change. You are not too old to learn something new. You are never too old or too young to change your life. Now, when we reflect, we may have order, or we may need to bring in some type of order that we can follow, and that's fine. A lot of times when we look into the mirror, we also get depressed because of this idea of endlessness. We see certain things that have happened or where we are, and we assume that this is where I'm always going to be. So endlessness, and the negative is like that. But when you are in the positive of the white mirror, when you can see things that are going on and make adjustments, bring order to your life, and induct things that you want to be endless, to have no end and to have no limit, then things change a little bit. So now I want to talk about the tone. So first we have, it's a magnetic tone, white magnetic mirror. What does that mean? Well, first and foremost, it means that we're magnetic. And when we have a magnetic tone in the calendar, it means simply this. Magnetic is associated with purpose. It's the magnetic tone of purpose. So we are going to want to know our purpose, especially if we don't like what we see in the mirror. And with that magnetic tone, you don't have to do anything to find your purpose. What do I mean by that? If you go back to Tuesday, which I think is the day that the mirror started, whatever came up for you on Tuesday gives you your purpose for the next 13 days. So what you have to know is, if you're magnetic, you attract. And whatever shows up, we have to unify that. So there's going to be something that we have to work on based on what comes up on that magnetic tone. So throughout the magnetic wave spell, we are going to be attracting. And just know that you can attract. You can attract what you need. You can attract what you don't need. Is based on the focus of your thoughts. But you always want to think about it in terms of purpose. Now, the other underlying tone, because I'm going to explain later, we have what's called a destiny kin, which I like to think of as our crew. We always have that person who is always by our side, We have a person who helps us from the background. We have a person that challenges us. And then we have a person that's our guide that we go to. And so that is a destiny kin. And that's where I get the second creative tone from. Now, this second tone that we're also going to be motivated by and that helps us with the White Mirror Wavespell is the cosmic tone of presence. When we have this tone of presence that we work in, we want to be and we want to focus on where we are right now. And the things that we want to ask ourselves as we are going through this mirror wave spell is, what have I endured? What is going on that I have been going through, that I have been handling? The second thing you want to ask yourself is, what have I transcended? How did I make it through certain things that have happened to us in the past? And then last but not least is where I am now. Because based on those things, you're able to take the focus a little bit off of where things were, off of the mirror and the reflection, and on to what you want the reflection to be. Now, when I talk about the white mirror, I always talk about perspective, because perspective is the key to change anything. We have a certain way of thinking about a subject or about ourselves, and when we look at that reflection, it does not work. So it feels uncomfortable. It makes us feel sad. It makes us feel depressed. It makes us feel all kind of things, because for real, it's not us. It's not really where we want to be. And again, we feel like we cannot become what we want to be because of whatever the reflection is. But I'm telling you, it is that just by virtue of looking in the mirror or bringing up a certain memory, it is letting you know that it can be changed, and we need to change our perspective. So the story that I like to tell is that it is said in the Mayan culture that they did human sacrifice. Now, this is not going to be a focus in that we're going to make an emotional connection to it, just that this is something that happened. And this is going to be the same for any situation that you find yourself mentally having to adjust. So there are 3 perspectives in the scenario that I'm going to present to you. There is the perspective of the victim, or the person who is being sacrificed. And I'm going to take victim out because it may not be a victim. We don't know how the process happened. We don't know if the person who it was to be sacrificed decided, or it was decided for them. Not sure of the results or how it happened because I wasn't there. But we have the person who is being sacrificed. We have the person that's performing the sacrifice. And we have the witness. Now, we have 3 different aspects. And depending on which aspect you place yourself, the same story is going to have a slightly different tint to it. But if you're able to put yourself in the witness position, in the sacrificed position, in the sacrificer position, you're able to see different components of what's going on. And some will call those reference points. So if you're able to change your position on a reference point, you're literally going to be able to rewrite your story. And so if we're able to take the emotional component out and put the eye of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not discernment, detachment. Being able to take the emotion out and just look from different perspectives, you'll probably be able to change how you feel about certain things, and thus change how you think about yourself. So that's important when we talk about the white magnetic mirror and tone, because you're going to always ask yourself, what is my purpose? And if your purpose is to beat up on yourself, you can change that. If your purpose is to be present and really take a more mature approach to what's happened, Think about what you've endured. Think about what you've transcended and where you are now. Where do you want to be now? Where do you want to go now? And then you want to write a different story. Now, when we speak of the white magnetic mirror, we are associating that with the root chakra. So for the next 13 days, although we're going to be dealing with different chakras each day, the main focus is going to be on the root chakra, because when you have different memories that you're reflecting on, it's going to take you back to where you felt safe or you didn't feel safe, where you felt secure or your security was threatened, where you felt grounded or where you felt in chaos, your roots, where you came from, how your family was, how your relationship dynamics were, and the idea of manifestation. Now, when we're looking in the mirrors, the reflection can be hard to take. So we have our destiny kin to help us along the way. And I'm sorry if you guys hear my dogs in the background. They need a little attention. Let me see if I can get that for them. Excuse me for 1 second. Okay, so we have our destiny kin to kind of assist us as we're going through the process of looking at our reflection of bringing new order and allowing ourselves to change our endlessness, what is ending, or the thing that is happening that we want to stay in the mindset of. So we have the sign of the red magnetic dragon. The white magnetic dragon is where we go to be nurtured. This is the first kin in the Mayan calendar. It speaks of being nurtured, being taken care of. When we're a baby, we don't worry about if we're going to eat. We don't worry about if we're cold or not. If we're cold, we cry. If we're wet, we cry. If we're hungry, we cry. And then we're taken care of. We are not a part of how that process happens. We just cry or let the universe know what we need, and we're provided for with it. Now, how we were nurtured as children may come into this a little bit, but I want you to think of this as your friend, as your compliment. So if you're having an issue with your reflection and it's making you feel uncomfortable, you need to be nurtured, as well as know that you can be yourself. So you really have to be honest with yourself, know who you are right now, know where you were at the time, and just know that that's okay. And also know that by adjusting your perception, you're going to be able to give birth to a new aspect of yourself. So this is the white magnetic dragon. So when you think about if you feel uncomfortable and you don't feel safe, you don't feel secure, you go to the red dragon and you ask yourself, what do I need to feel nurtured? What do I need in this moment to be myself? And those will be keys on how to deal with yourself as you're addressing your mirror, your shadows in the mirror, and just knowing that you are going to have what you need, you are going to be able to change, and that is brewing. And also know that the red dragon also protects your gifts. So if your reflection of yourself is that you don't have any gifts, focusing on the red dragon will help you reestablish some of the gifts that you have that you may have lost touch with. So now, the next friend that we have in the white magnetic mirror is the blue cosmic knight. And this is our hidden helper. This is our subconscious self. And this is where we can receive unexpected assistance. And the blue knight is about tapping into your intuition. It's about your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, and abundance. So going into the night, we have to go into what is my biggest dream. So, notwithstanding the reflection in the mirror, if I can be who I wanted to be, what would that look like? Um, and using your intuition is letting you know that you have power within yourself. You have a voice that will guide you and take you to where you need to be. So we need to tap into that. And by tapping into that, we get a lot of inspiration. And then you ask yourself, what is the abundance that I am experiencing in my life? Or what is the abundance that I seek to have? And by going into the night, you're going to be able to reach your deepest dreams, the ones that you don't put out in the open, the ones that you don't tell anyone. Those are the dreams that you need to focus on at that time, because that's going to help you challenge that reflection and let you know that you are the creator of your image and what you see. And so then you can change the reflection in the mirror. And next we have the yellow star. The yellow star is going to be our challenge and our gift. And it's going to be something that we desire to learn. Now, when that yellow star shows up, this is something that is continuously growing and flowering and blossoming. When you see that yellow star, you think of a star. When we see a star at night, we see the light that has been reflected from a certain amount of years ago. They call that light in terms of when it reaches us light years. So when people are experiencing you, they are experiencing you light years ago, who you used to be. They have no idea of the person inside. They have no idea of the person that you're going to grow to become. Also, when we have that yellow star, it's about beauty. It's about art. What is it that is beautiful about yourself? Don't you know that time is art? Do you know that life is art? That you are an artist, and your life is your canvas on which you create who you really are as a nurtured being that can give birth to yourself in many different ways. You have to know that you are beauty, that you do create art, and that your light is something that is elegant, something that has style and flair. You have something about you that no one else has. And if you see yourself in a certain reflection, you may not be able to see your beauty. You may not be able to create the art that is your life. And so that is our challenge, and that is our gift, because once we are able to tap into the fact that we are beautiful, the fact that we are creating our life, and our life is a piece of art, that we pick the colors, we pick the image, we pick the design, we have the power alone with the creator, we are able to create a great change in our life. And then our guide, our higher self, and what brings focus to us is the mirror. So our reflection is going to be that guiding factor in how we need to change. Being able to look at yourself with discernment and say, this is what happened, this is how I see myself. However, this is how I want to see myself. And then you can write stories, and you can use visualization to start seeing the image or the reflection and bring an order to your life in the way that you want. And what are the situations that you would like to create as an individual that are endless, that have no end? What are situations that you want to have in your life that do not end? We tap into the red dragon. We tap into the blue knight. We tap into the yellow star. We continue to look into our reflection, and we create who we are. So these next 13 days, and actually it's a little less now, we focus on our reflection. And we have to do this if we want to change. If you want to stay the same, you can refuse to look in a mirror, or you can be courageous and bold and look at the reflection and be willing to use the foundation of white to make adjustments, to organize things, to look the way that you want, to be able to allow yourself to be refined, making yourself pure, taking out the negative and being who you are meant to be. You can be whoever you want to be. Okay, and if you have problems with that, what is your purpose? What are you attracting? What do you need to make one? Because if there's more than one, they're going to have you going from one point to another. Oh, I want this, but I can be this. I want this, I can be this. But when we unify it, we have solidified our purpose. And then importantly, we also want to look at that other creative tone, which is endure, transcend, and present. What have I endured? What have I transcended? And where I am right now. And focusing on these things are going to help you tremendously in transforming your life. I am the Sacred Empress Alitash and the Melanated Mayan Mystic. And if you are interested in learning more about how you can use this transformation cycle to change your life, I do have a transformation cycle webinar where we talk about each wave spell. We have 4 wave spells in which we work in a cycle. We had the red serpent, which got us into our body and talked about changing. We also have the blue monkey, which is very powerful, in which how do we tap into and go to our inner child. This is going to be so important in changing by breaking our illusions, by learning how to play and to tap into our magic. And last but not least, we have the yellow seed. And the yellow seed lets us know that whatever we plant is what we're going to give birth to, unless we change our focus, unless we go back to our old reflection, which we work on getting rid of with the red serpent, which is ridding ourselves of old belief systems. But today I just focused on the white magnetic mirror and the transformation cycle. So if you want to know more, I'll have a QR code. You can join the transformation cycle, and we also have some beautiful information and energies that are coming up, actually starting tomorrow. So please check that QR code, sign yourself up for the core days, because we're really going to take that tone of presence, of enduring and transcending for a 20-day journey in which we focus on where we are now and how we can transform our lives. Thank you much for your time. Have a beautiful, wonderful day and Friday. Peace and love.